I've muted my mic.
Okay.
Sorry.
All
I
right.
think we're
Yeah.
all set
Okay.
and we're live.
All right.
Well,
Bet.
welcome. Should I say back or back or back? Whatever you want to call it. It's been a while since we spoke. It's been a while since anyone of us has went on live on the channel to speak about Inter and to speak about
hmm
life in general. So how have you been doing, my brother?
I've been good, bro. I've been good. Just for the most part, just working. Doing school sometimes, like part time, but for the most part, just working and doing life, man. But that doesn't mean that I haven't been following the team and doesn't I don't know what's going on. And but it's just like you said, life has been lifing, and we haven't have had time to be podcasting like that. How about you, bro? Like, give me an update. It sucks that we're doing this live, but how about you? Give me an update on your life.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's beauty into everything, and I think there's beauty into catching up on live stream. Just because the name of the podcast, the fans itself, it's a lifestyle. It's the brothers of the world and all of that. Look, I've been doing great. I've been busy with work, overwhelmed, I would say. I've been catching up to Inter in the past season. Uh, I think we spoke throughout the season, and when we started recording last August, I think all of us were kind of down on Inter for the season because nothing was really happening. We were all
Yeah.
overwhelmed, and it was just too much for me. I've been watching Inter. I've been following all the news, but haven't been, in the mood to speak about them in length because last season it was a roller coaster of emotions. I think none of us would have ever imagined at the beginning of the season Inter to reach the finals of the Champions League and on the verge of winning it. But yeah, I think it has been a really decent season considering what was happening throughout. We were so close, but yet so far from winning any title. I'm glad, having in mind all the resources. I'm glad. I'm doing fine. You said you're doing fine overall with work, but I think we'll have and we'll find time to record throughout the season and just to speak our mind as we have done so far in the past, 4 years, for in some years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's four of us, so I mean, there's no excuse. Even if on times it may be tough to get all four of us on in one episode, but like we're doing today, I'm sure like uh, any two of us can find the time to get on together and just do a quick episode. Not just for ourselves, but seeing that the minute that we posted that we were going to do an episode, we saw a number of people actually responded to it and actually reacted. So that tells us that people are actually paying attention and are actually looking forward to it. So if not for us, for ourselves, then for them, we have to make the effort and to come on at least after every match, after every important match to just do an episode for sure.
Definitely. I mean, we what we had in mind when we created the community, it was all about Inter, 24/7, and it was nice. It was fun, but it was very exhausting. The back end shit is like quite exhausting. There's no excuse, but I think we were doing well when we had the 10 p.m. European time scheduled for us, and you can go do anything you wanted throughout the day, and had the time to talk about Inter and speak your mind as we're doing right
Yeah.
now. So tell me about the back end of the season, I think, and what has been going through your mind in the past month and a half since the season has ended.
Well, I mean, if we're honest, the back end of the season for me is when I started garnering more interest towards Inter. Because the season, like you mentioned a couple of times, is this season has been a roller coaster, especially in the league. Losing the teams that we're supposed to be beating, and like at one point it looked like even the top four would have been what was at risk. So like you said, at the back end of the season, that's when it kind of coincided a bit with Lukaku regaining his fitness and his form. we started being much better in the league, and of course, we made that run in the Champions League all the way up to the final. So yeah, the back end of the season, that's what started really re garnering, like it re sparked that interest in Inter. Like, okay, hey, look, it could go from a throwaway season to a, like, yo, an important season, like, because we got so close to winning a Champions League the first time in what, 10 years, so like you said, so close but yet so far. But again, yeah, the end of the season definitely re-sparked my interest in Inter, and to a point where I feel like if we do handle this summer window the right way, we can be right back there, bro. Like, let's say we get lucky again, we can make another run all the way to the final again. Why not?
I think that's quite optimistic. I don't know why, but like it's been a hell of a season. As I said, I think I was interested more in the back end of the season than I was throughout, and it has been a roller coaster of emotions throughout. I think that when the season ended, I was relieved because it's a draining feeling that we all have, and it takes everything out of us, all the emotions possible, and anything that we have. I think because not only on the pitch but off the pitch as well. Because all the Lukaku drama was not needed. We've said the same fucking thing for the Cardi drama 4 years ago, and we're saying the same thing about
Yeah,
Lukaku drama right now. I think the situation could have been handled in a very, I mean, in any sense, but better. But I think there's light at the end of the tunnel because I've seen the news about Balogun, rumors to Inter. I quite like him. I don't know why. There's something about him that really excites me. He's a unique player, I think, and it's a good player in the making. I was not so keen on Lukaku returning at the price that was rumored. I think 40 million euros was too much for a guy that's 30 pushing 31, and quite honestly,
yeah.
not.
I mean,
Yeah.
the way I feel about the Lukaku situation is, first and foremost, I was super surprised. I was shocked. When the rumors first started coming out, I kind of refused to believe it. I tweeted like, what, I'm just gonna use my brain, because just logically it did not make any sense to me. Given how he went to Chelsea and he had the hard season that he did, and supposedly he learned the lesson, and then we took him back and whatnot, and then for him to turn around and go and flirt with Juve, and not only just Juve and Milan, I just could not believe it. So to me, it was more like a soap opera thing that they were making up in the press. But to see that these things turned out to be true, you know, um, I was shocked. I did not expect it at all. Now, football wise, I was okay with the idea of bringing him back, because to me, I feel like if you stay on him and you manage him properly, he could give you 2, 3 good years at the top. And although Lukaku at the top of his game is not necessarily a guy that's gonna win you the biggest of games or gonna carry you in the Champions League or whatnot, but in the Serie A in the league, I feel like he offers a certain guarantee. And I feel like next season is perfect season. We're primed to make a run for that second star. With Napoli just won it, and they sold their defender Kim, and they lost their coach, and there's a lot of turnover going on there at Napoli. Milan, I feel like we're still better than them, although they're making a lot of moves right now. We could talk about them a little bit if we'd like. Juve are in shambles right now, so for me, I feel like that's why I was saying if we handle this summer properly, we can be right back to not only make a long run in the Champions League, but also winning the league, which would be more than just a regular league. It would be a special league if we were to win that 20th and get that second star. So that's how I feel. I feel about the whole Lukaku situation. And I know it was kind of long winded. I'll wrap it up by saying this. I understand that in retrospect, it's easy to say, hey, you know what? we were gonna spend 40 million on a player that's 30 years old, 31 years old. That depends on his physical attributes, and that's already showing signs that those attributes
Yeah,
are kind of going down. So it makes sense in retrospect, but uh, in my opinion, although I do like the American kid Balogun, like you said, we could talk about him a little more. I feel like when you look at our striker room right now, seeing we have Lotaro, we have Correa still there, and we have Duram. I feel like a guy that we should go after is Kamaka. It's a big physical striker. That's what we need. That's what I would have done personally. What do you think? Like, tell me, what do you like about Balogun? Because I'm kind of surprised that you're for it. I would thought that you wouldn't like him if anything.
I think I like strikers that are pure finishers, and I think he's a pure finisher as of right now. I think there's a lot of room to grow. Uh, his movement is just something that you cannot learn. I think that's the first thing that I liked about Icardi. Icardi doesn't have any specific technique or I don't know dribbling or flair or anything like that. Icardi was and still is just a pure finisher that's always at the right time.
Here's my
And
thing though. Don't you see? Like when I see Balogun, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm a Balogun expert all of a sudden or whatnot. I've seen him a couple games with the United States men's national team, and also I've watched like his highlights and stuff. I see a lot of similarities with Lotaro, and to me, unless you're about to sell Lotaro, I feel like you would be getting the same player and they would have trouble playing together. That's why I feel like the profile that we would need is probably like a guy that can hold it up and Lotaro could play off of him, kind of like he did with Zeko and Lukaku.
I do agree with you. I just am not sure whether we will see
Risto,
I got lost for a bit.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
go
my mic
ahead.
is all plugged in, but the connection was bad, and that's why I was lagging. The mic was. I like the guy because yeah, he reminds me of Lukaku, and he reminds me of a mix of Lukaku and someone that's a pure finisher that needs very few chances to convert them. Um, but there's no one available on the market that will make a difference that is actually, ready to come to this area. I think at least someone that I like. I mean, I was for Lukaku's return, but not at the price of 40 million euros.
Hmm.
That's something that's not a smart deal, and I think we've seen throughout the Serie A that smart deals are done in and out. When I think Juventus is an example for everyone because not in the sense that what they're doing everyone should be doing, but if they're selling players and not signing anyone in particular, that means that the league means it's like quite low on the scale because in the past season we've seen Juventus spending so much money on players and at least signing big time players, and now all of the players that are connected to them and linked to them are not very high profile, and they're most often they're not selling players. So you can see them promoting players from the Primavera, signing young players like Timothy Vea, like all in all, getting young players to fill in the gaps. And I don't know. I think
Well, I think that's a reflection of not only the situation that the league is in as a whole, but also them not having that European revenue, European football revenue. They have to lower their wage bill. They got Pogba on higher wages. They got who else? Well, they got rid of Di Maria or whoever else. I think Vlahovic is making decent money. They got guys that are making good money, and they have to reduce that wage bill. That's why they're going on that model, and also that's why I personally feel like besides them having the advantage of playing one game a week, I feel like they're not going to be much of a threat for the Scudetto, which is why I feel like we should definitely make a move. Um, But again, let's touch back on Balogun. You don't feel like he could struggle physically? Like I feel like if you already have, if you had a Lukaku or a Dzeko already on your roster, you can go get him, fine. But the, given that the guys that we have right now are all second strikers, I personally like I'm shocked that we're not like to me. Skamaka was like a layup, like last season before he left, he scored what 15, 16 goals. So he knows the league. He can score in the league. And one thing we know that in our team, there are going to be plenty of chances. Um, to me, that's the guy I would go for. But of course, you're gonna have to trust management, whoever they do decide that they know what they're doing. But personally, I feel like Balogun, although he does have those characteristics of playing with his back to the goal and you know holding it up and passing it on. I feel like he's a small guy. He doesn't have the physicality to be able to do it. What I mainly think of is that one goal Lukaku. He didn't score it, but he was the main person creating it late in the season. I forgot who we were playing. He just held the ball up, and then he kind of passed it to Brozovic, who made the run behind him, and then Brozovic kind of set it up for Lautaro to score that goal. You know, that's what happens a lot. They when they're press or strikers, you need that big guy that can hold it up, and a midfielder is gonna make that run behind that striker. In our case, it's most likely gonna be Fratesi, and then you gotta have the big guy to be able to make that pass and hold it up. That's my fear right now. I feel like it has to be Skamaka, man, to make sense tactically. Personally, that's my take on it.
Look, I'm fine with it. But I think two strikers are coming, and I think both of them should be like higher profile because we've seen last season the lack of a striker option that is in form besides Lautaro was maybe what costed us, the Scudetto. But some would argue that even Napoli was too good for the rest of the league. I think Turam is a good signing for free, definitely. I just don't want Morata. I'm fine with Skamaka. I like him. I'm not his biggest fan, but I have nothing against the guy. He was really good at Sassuolo. I haven't seen him play at Vesbro or West Ham, sorry, at all. I would be lying if I say so. I'm fine with him as an option. I think two strikers are coming because Correa is also leaving the club, most probably. I'm sure you've seen the news about him going to the Saudi League and Saudis being interested in the services of the Argentine player. I don't know.
Yeah.
We need like two different types of players. I think Balogun and
Mhm. Now,
Samak are more similar than different, but yeah.
well, now in that case, if Korea does leave, then things become completely different. Then we can definitely bring in Balogun that we seem to be super in love with, and then bring in another guy probably on loan or whatnot. Although it is reported that West Ham are not interested in loaning Skamaka. It's not like I'm seeing Skamaka as this big solution to our issues or whatnot, but I feel like the way this market is looking, the striker market is bare, and he wants to come back to Italy. He knows the league. He never really, in my opinion, hit his prime in the league because, he never played for a big team in the league. I feel like he would make sense, but if Correa does leave, it seems like Osilio is made up. His mind's made up on Balogun. Then we can bring in both. I'd be okay with that. I just don't want us to make that mistake of having a bunch of small strikers, and then team will easily defend us by just pressing us. And we've seen that struggle happen when we had Alexis Sanchez trying to play with Lotaro and stuff like that. Teams would just press us, and we fail to play the proper way. Let's hope they know what they're doing and that they get two different profiles. Because in my opinion, we're missing that big profile, and we can't go into the season without it. But bro, let's talk a little bit about the goalkeeper situation. Because as of right now, our boys just left. We're in Japan right now on tour, and we do not have a first team goalkeeper. And the news aren't too encouraging. At first, the names we do. me personally, let me speak for myself. I'm okay with the names. Summer, who is a he's a veteran goalkeeper. You know, of course, past his prime, but you know, I'm sure he could do a job in Italy. And also Trubin, the young kid with a lot of potential. You know, so I would be okay with both, but in reality, it looks like both of them are easier said than done right now. Bayern Munich or giving us issues about Sumner because they called him up. He's with them on their. I think they're in Japan as well, or they're in the
Yeah,
U.S. tour. They're in Japan as well, so they called them up. So it doesn't look like a sale is imminent. And as far as Struben goes, he's on the last year of his contract, and Shakhtar is still asking 20 million plus for him, which, as we know, we're not going to pay. So it's I'm kind of I'm feeling a little uneasy about the situation because we're not bringing in keepers from inside the league, so that means the a period of adjustment is definitely needed. Uh, so the sooner we bring those guys in, the better. You know, it's not like a guy we can bring in with a week to go before the league starts and they'll be fine. You know, how do you feel about the keeper situation?
it's a tough question. Having two of your, I mean, all three of your goalkeepers leave within like weeks of each other. It's quite terrifying. Not mentioning the fact that you have someone like Di Gennaro going on preseason as the most experienced keeper. It's scary, to say the least, considering the season is what, almost a month away.
Yeah.
The only feasible solution at the moment is signing someone within the league. I don't know, someone that speaks the language that is suitable and that is good enough to join Inter. I'm sure that Inter's priority, I think, at the moment is definitely um, the Ukrainian kid from Shakhtar, Trubin, that we have seen and spoke about even on the podcast when we were playing Shakhtar. I remember all of us
Hmm.
raving about him and him making saves, world class saves,
Yeah.
and in concentration like a world class keeper. I like him. I think he's a very good solution. Honestly, I don't hate Sommer either, especially because all the prices mentioned for the players last month were 10 million for the Ukrainian kid and 6 mil for Sommer's release clause. So basically, you will replace Onana with and Lukaku basically for the price of selling Onana. So that's something that is an ideal scenario, considering you are losing also Handanovic, who I was never very fond of, but he was, according to many, a huge role. He had played a huge role in the dressing room, on the pitch. He was never like outspoken on the pitch, but his role off the pitch was quite important, as many of the players have said. I think the other player that has, I mean, so to sum up, I want Rubin. I really do. I've seen him play for the first time in 2019 when we were playing Shakhtar in the Europa League, and then throughout the COVID campaign, whenever it was it. Um, I think both of them are more feasible than others. Just to jump between topics, I would like you to say the two names that you want to replace Onana and Handanovic, and also the loss of Brozovic to Al Nassr. I think that's something that not many people have spoken about, and I think it's a huge, huge thing for the season. Do you think Fratesi has the qualities to replace Brozovic?
Mhm. Well, to answer your first question, I think those two names that we mentioned are the two that I would be okay with as well. Jan Sumner, which is a guy that, I mean, he would be the equivalent of Andanovic to me, like a guy that's had a world class career, still has some left in the tank, and as recently as 2 years ago was still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You know, last year not so much. He had a down season, but as recently as 2 seasons ago, he was easily a top 10 goalkeeper still. So if we can bring him in at the rumored price, I feel like it is gonna end up happening, but it's a matter of timing right now. So Sumner, definitely, I'm okay with it. And Trubin as well, because we see he's been twerking for the move all over the internet. Every post he's putting eyes and anything that's linking him to Inter. So of course you could tell the kid wants to move. I'm okay with it. Like it's knowing that you have a guy that's probably on his way down and also a guy on his way up. So those would be the perfect replacements for me. So if Trubin is showing that he's not yet ready for that level, you could always play with Sumner. So yeah, those two would have been okay. And surprisingly, to answer your second question, I feel like Brozovic is. I look at Brozovic more like a situation of moving on from a player at the perfect time. I feel like last year, given the fact that he struggled with injuries and we had to play Hakan for the most part, uh, in the register role, that showed us that okay, you know what, life doesn't fully revolve around Brozovic like we thought it thought it did. He's what 30, 31 years old. It's okay in my opinion to move on from him. He was earning high wages. We know the situation. We know uh, the financial situation of the club. Given that we have Aslani there as well, that never really got a full chance. I'm completely okay with moving on from Brozovic, having Hakan there full time, and having Aslani play there. As the second register, and I feel like Fratesi, he's actually gonna be a good fit in our midfield. He has all the characteristics that we look for, or I feel like we should look for in our midfield. He has all the running ability. Like he's kind of like Barella in that sense, and he's physical. A lot of people don't mention him as a physical midfielder, but he's a guy that doesn't. He's not afraid to get stuck in there. So that's what I like about him, and he has that perfect instinct to make that time run into the box. That's why he scores a lot of goals. I would love to see him in a big team, and I can't wait. Like I feel like he's gonna surprise a lot of guys. So yeah, I feel like our midfield room is okay so far. Is good. And if the rumors that we want to pick up that kid from Udinese, Samacic, there for or like as our sixth midfielder, I feel like we will have not only hands down the best midfield in the league, but one of the top midfields in Europe. If those are our six midfielders, in my opinion, how do you feel about that? Because I see you were surprised um, when I gave you my opinion about Brozovic and whatnot.
I was, because I think you were very fond of Brozovic when he was here. I tend to get very like connected to players and invested in them, which is definitely not a good thing to be, or a situation to be in when you are someone that runs a club. And that's why we see dealings with players all the time. I think, I mean, at the end of the day, I agree with you. I think 20 million for, or 18 for Brozovic at 31 is a good deal. Like no one can deny that. Uh, I don't know about Fratesi. Like I think he's a good player, but I don't like him. I don't know if that makes sense. In my head, it doesn't, but in a way, it does. Doesn't give, doesn't give two shits. Um, I think he
I
will
mean,
be.
you could elaborate a bit on that. What do you feel like he's missing? What do you not like about him?
It's not even what he's missing. I just when I he seems like he's not a finished product in a sense. He's very rough, and like the aesthetics are not there. I think even when I remember Mikey having doubts about Barelo, and Barelo was coming to from Cagliari, and whether he's able to make that step up. And in the first month, we've seen Sensi being, prime Xavi and Iniesta in one in that September period. I have the same doubts about Fratesi if he's able to make the step up. Although we've seen him play at a very high level for the national team, and playing alongside very quality players and being one of the best players on the pitch, and playing alongside someone like Barella, who we regard very highly. And there's teams like Manchester City and the top clubs from all around the world are interested in his services. I think at the end of the day, I think he is the best solution for the goalkeeper position. Sorry, for the goalkeeper, for the midfield position, to replace Brozovic. And I think Fratesi, Barella, and Çalhanoğlu, although not the best aesthetically, I think they're all um, completing each other's flaws. And I think when you want to win a championship, when you want to win a Scudetto, the most important thing is the bench. Having a quality bench can go a long way, because Çalhanoğlu, Barella, Fratesi, they will be amazing at the beginning of the season, but there will be a point in the future, at the break in January, when they will fold and they will not be at the highest level possible, because you know they have souls as well, and we need someone to replace them on the pitch. Fortunately for us, that one being Gagliardini, I
Mhm.
think we deserve to, cheer to that occasion. We've suffered enough with him, and I just want someone. Look, at the end of the day, the midfield is set. I just want someone quality on the bench to be able to replace them at any given point throughout the match. That's it.
Well, I feel like you hit it right on the head. It's not like he's exactly what Barella was, but I feel like it's very similar to when Barella first joined us from Cagliari. You could see something there in a player, and you just were waiting to see how he would transition from a small team to a bigger team with bigger expectations and with higher quality players around him. And also, you answered the question exactly how I was going to answer it to you, because I feel like the last couple of matches that we've seen Fratesi with the national team kind of put me at ease. Seeing how he fit right in to that midfield with who was it? They started him, Barella, and Jorginho. I think they did, and I think they were playing against a pretty good Spanish team, and he scored a goal that was chalked off due to offside. And ironically, with the new offside rules that they just added, the new offside rules that the player has to be fully um, ahead of the other player, like that would have been a goal. So I say that to say this: he doesn't seem like he's scared of the moment. He was shining in that Italian team against Spain,
Yeah.
and I feel like he's gonna do the same at Inter. I don't know if it's the optimistic fan in me, but I feel very confident about him. But like you also mentioned the bench and the midfield, I feel like Mkhitaryan, he was a very good player for us last year. I was happy with that move when we brought him in from Roma. I feel like he proved his worth, and I feel safe knowing he can come off the bench and create something for us. But I also mentioned Samardzic from Udinese. That's the kid that I really like him. He's very technical. Of course, lefty. He does need some work defensively as far as track and back or whatnot. But right now he would be like a younger Mkhitaryan to me. So having him as our sixth midfielder to put with, let's say, Aslani as the regista, and having Mkhitaryan on the other end, that would give us a good backup midfield as well. So hopefully the rumors are true and that we do go after him, because the latest I've seen was that Udinese wanted our youth player Fabian, I think, for part of that deal. And you know how I feel about those kids, man. Fuck them kids. Let's sell them if we can to just keep that squad competitive. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the comments, man. I see you were showing some of the comments. It's our first time back in forever. I wasn't expecting many people, but thank you everybody for being here with us, and we're gonna try to be more consistent going forward.
I mean, ah, I think there's a lot of sentiment connected and linked to Inter's Primavera players. But you know, the expectations are always high and they never pan out. I don't know how the fuck that's possible. Like, I've seen, Inter's Primavera and Inter's Academy are considered as one of the best in the world, at least one of the best in Italy. And they always produce players that are Serie A ready and Serie A quality. Like, season in, season out, that's something that's happening. I don't know how Inter doesn't have a single player on the bench that has been a prospect worthwhile, with the exception of someone like, as you said, Fabiani. I've never seen him. I've seen some, I think, either Serie A, high Serie B or lower Serie A teams linked to him, where he would be a starter. We've seen someone like who did Carboni. Carboni went to Monza, I think, and
Yeah.
he's expected to play. I don't know if that's gonna pan out and that's gonna
Yeah, I
happen.
think I think if anything, it's gonna be him because the kid that we sold last year to Chelsea, Casaday, he looks like a real one. He looks like it's gonna be only a matter of time before he breaks through Chelsea's first team. He
Nah,
no, bro. Listen to me. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like we already sold him, so I would love nothing better but to tune in and be like, hey, you know what, this kid sucks. Um, he was the hands down the best player, man amongst boys, and I think it was the U21 World Cup that he played for Italy. And then I was just watching a game that he was playing because right now Chelsea are in America. I think they were playing MLS All Stars or some shit like that, and the kid could play, bro. If not this year, but then next year for sure. He looks like he can break into the Chelsea first team. But I was saying, it was between him and Carboni. You know, those two seem to be like our best youth players, and we made the decision. You know what? We're gonna hold on to Carboni. So hopefully, Carboni ends up being that guy from the youth system that does end up making it. You know, but as you said, like it sucks that we have supposedly one of the best youth systems in the world, but we can never have a player to show for it. But it's not like we seeing any of those players go out on any other team. You know, it's like none of those players are really making it at the senior level, period. You know, so it's not like we're failing to recognize our own players and then they're gonna go shine on other teams. You know what I mean? Those guys are probably not as good as we think they are.
I think that's one of the biggest problems is that when you have a problem and the problem seems like so much bigger in your head than it actually is. And I think this is just an example that's happening in the footballing world. I think we think the players are better than they are because we are watching them in week out. And I'm just looking at Carboni's profile. I think he is one of the best prospects that we have had in recent years. Um, I've seen Cesare Casadei. I like him. I just don't think he's quality enough because, um, at least for Chelsea, because he is soon to be 21, and at 21, at Chelsea, it's a hard place to be. It's a tough place to be. You're muted.
I didn't know he was that old. Honestly, I thought
Yeah,
that if anything, he would be 19, turning 20. That is crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, at 21, he should be ready to make that move.
That's
You
why I
know, at
said
least.
because sorry when I was watching because I've seen him play like once or twice maybe in the Primavera when I was catching up for European games. I've seen him play. I think he's a leader on the pitch. I think he's very good. But when Inter sold him, he was almost 20. I think that was last season, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. Yeah, it was last year season, and the price rumored was 15 to 20 million. And I was like, 15 to 20 million for a player that plays for under 19 team while being almost 20. It's like basically a man amongst boys because he is a man among boys
yeah.
because the
He's
others
he's
are
he's
like,
physically dominating. You could
yeah,
tell that. Yeah.
and those year and a half make a huge difference in the Primavera world, where we've seen the various Inter players dominate, and then could not break into the top three leagues in Italy. But I think, um, talking about midfielders, I think whoever is chosen to be the sixth guy is not the toughest job in the world, because the pressure will be at a time where pressure basically doesn't exist, because there are three starting players before him, and there is also Mkhitaryan, someone that's an experienced player, but also Cristiano Aslani, who all of us regard highly, who has shown up in and out for the national team and who has played really decently when given a chance in the previous season. I quite like him. I'm not sure what's your thought on him, considering he has been mainly the Brozovic replacement last season. Do you see him as a solely like a Fratesi, like a deep line playmaker role, or do you see him potentially replacing Barella or Çalhanoğlu in some games?
You talking about Aslani?
Yeah,
No, me personally, I see him strictly as a regista. Um, I do believe that he has the ability to play as a Mizala as well, but I believe for me he's a regista. But of course, before you're given that trust to play in that position, you have to convince the coach, because you're going to be receiving the ball in all types of dangerous positions that if you make one mistake, you can cost the team a goal and cost the team a match. So I feel like that's what it is. It's a matter of Inzaghi not fully trusting him yet, him being so young that he's always going to make the right decisions. But yeah, to me, I see him strictly, especially now with Brozo gone, I see him strictly as Hakan's backup, and hopefully now he's gonna be Inzaghi will be forced to play him and allow him to make mistakes and learn. That's the only way he's gonna learn. I see him strictly as that. How about you? You sound like you see him as a guy that you could play all over the midfield.
I think he has the potential to. I'm not sure whether Inzaghi agrees with that. I think, correct me if I'm mistaken, do you see Brozovic being replaced by Çalhanoğlu in that register role and Fratesi going on the left side with Barella on the right side? Okay. So, okay, I thought Fratesi was someone that would play in the center of the three, someone to
Mm,
replace Brozovic. But maybe you're right. Maybe Çalhanoğlu is more suited to replace Brozovic, and Fratesi going out wide.
yeah. No, that's what I saw. And I feel like again, why I feel this way is because in my opinion, the only reason why we felt comfortable selling Brozovic this summer is after seeing how Hakan played in the role while Brozovic was absent from the team. He same thing last season as well. He played the season before that when he first arrived. He played some register, and
Yeah,
we started seeing that he can do it. Last season he did even more, and I guess that's why we decided, what, we can get rid of Brozovic's big wages and also cash in on the guy that's 31, and we have a good replacement. So yeah, I feel like for sure it's gonna be Hakan, and Pratesi is gonna play on the left, and Barella is gonna be on the right.
I'm just looking at how many games did Brozovic play last season
Hmm.
for Inter, and yeah, he has played 28 games for Inter, which is just five more. Which is 28 games last season is only five more than the all-time low in 2016, 23. That's the only time he has played less games for Inter, and that was the season, I think, with Spalletti and all the drama with him leaving for Sevilla in January and all that. But yeah, to sum up, I think you are right. I didn't think of Çalhanoğlu being the regista player. I thought Fratesi was someone to play there, but you
Yeah.
like you
No, I feel like Fratesi, like, whereas you have Hakan who can play both, who can play Regista and also play the Mezzala role. I feel like Fratesi is a guy. He's an all action player. He doesn't have that. Like you said, he's still a raw. He's still very raw, very rough as a player. He doesn't have that calmness, or nor, in my opinion, the technical ability required to play that register role. So I feel like he's just a guy that's going to be your all action midfielder, bombing up and down, combining with it's probably going to be Demarco on that left hand side, kind of like you see Barella do with Dumfries. That's what I'm going to see from. Well, that's what I expect to see. I can't wait to actually see it on the pitch, but that's what I'm expecting for sure.
Uh, Talking about Dumfries, what do you make of Villanova not signing permanently for Inter? Are you gutted, or was it something that you expected?
What was that? Bellanova?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys remember. That's a kid that I really like. I was disappointed to see us not be able to bring him back, but I do understand, like, in our situation, we don't have the money. It does sound like we had some kind of backdoor deal with him, like, hey, just tell Cagliari you only want to play for Inter or something, and he kind of stalled out a little bit before he signed with Torino, but eventually he did. I feel like it's a good move for his career personally. Juric is gonna be the best guy to pretty much clean out all the flaws in his game, kind of like he did for Demarco, for example.
Mhm.
But as far as physically, the kid could run up and down the pitch. He covers so much ground. And he has a good little dribble move on him. Like once you have a good coach to polish him, I feel like there's a good player there. Hopefully, he finds his way back to us. Because I feel like one advantage that we have above Milan, Napoli, and even Juve is the fact that right now, out of the big teams, we're the only one that plays with a three at the back system. So players that are naturally wing backs or Midzalas like Fratesi, those players will automatically want to play for us, because they feel like they're fit in better. Whereas the same thing it works in reverse, where we could have a player like Kvaratskhelia that we knew of last year, but it just didn't fit our system, So it works both ways, I guess.
Uh,
But since we were also talking about the position, um, we did lose Bellanova, but we also replaced him. How do you feel about the Bellanova replacement?
just going back to before I forget what I wanted to say, him going to Torino, uh, really, you know, the player that I like a lot is someone that plays a right wing back at Torino. Someone that I've liked for a couple of years now, and someone I think that has been one of the best wingbacks in Italy, who is also unpolished and a rough diamond, I would say.
But that guy that you're talking about, he got benched last season by our guy that we own, Lazaro. So
I mean, look, I think it's a situation wise, because look at Acerbi. Lazio was eager to get rid of him. He goes to Inter, starts on the bench, gets the starting spot, and basically puts Haaland in his pocket, the best striker in the world, for 90 minutes. Like, Haaland couldn't get a fucking ball in. And Acerbi was someone that couldn't play in front of someone like, I don't know, Romagnoli, and someone like non-existing Luis Felipe. And I
yeah.
think the situation wise, I think, uh, yeah. But talking about Lazaro, um, you know, an amazing player, someone that you like. Uh, I'm kidding. I just cannot be serious talking about Lazaro in that sense. Like, oh my God, God will punish
But
all of
that's that's
us.
that's that's not who I'm talking about, though. I don't know why
Who are
you're
you
acting
talking
like.
about?
Uh, who's gonna be your second right wing back? Let's come on, bro. We're on a podcast. You better act like you know your stuff. Don't act like you don't know. We signed Cordado. You
I
know
mean, look,
Mhm.
I think he's more suited to play even in the midfield. Uh, yeah, I
What?
mean, I said we were talking about Inter players.
Mhm.
We
We are.
have, yeah, let's disagree on that. I am actively trying not to mention his name,
I
and
see.
it has been a successful mission in the past 49 minutes. Um, I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. I think it will take a lot of time for me to get used to that. I am, the trauma is huge, and it tries to block the news that he's an Inter player, someone that
I
we all
see.
hated. I
I see,
don't
because
want.
I'm talking about Dumfries' backup, and you started talking about Lazaro as if that's not a player that we're gonna sell by the end of the window.
I,
But since you don't want to speak on it, let me do that. Then I feel like once you get over the initial shock of here is a guy who's been one of the main faces of our rival, who's a guy that's always antagonizing us, a guy that's created fake penalties and he punched our captain in the face last time we played him. You know, once you get over that initial shock of bringing that into the locker room, um, let's say that he's able to be a professional and give his all for Inter. I feel like football wise, he's an awesome fit. He's a player that I would
unfortunately, I agree. Sorry.
yeah, he's a player that I would have been wanted on Inter ever since we brought Conte in, and Conte initially just switched us to three at the back team, which needs wing backs. I feel like once we get over the initial shock of hey, this is a guy that we're gonna cheer for. This is Juan Cuadrado. He's gonna produce for us on the pitch, and we'll be okay with the signing, kind of like Acerbi, like an older player that we just thought initially we were bringing in just to be a body. I would not be surprised to see Cuadrado outplay Dumfries and become the main starter over there as the right wing back. Considering, well, let's say assuming that he's physically capable of performing still.
I think you are right, like 100%. I think not only he's ready to be a backup, I think he's quality enough to be a starter, because we're talking about someone, a player in Dumfries that is hot and cold most of the time. It's a hit and miss. And last season, although Belano is, rough and still is not polished enough to be a starter for Inter, I think if there was someone instead of Bellanova, they would have posed a great danger for Dumfries in terms of fighting for the starter position at the right wing
Yeah,
back.
I think to piggyback off of that, I think having the Skriniar situation develop like he did, first initially finding out that he's signed for PSG, and secondly the injury that prevented him from playing, injury, you know, um, that kind of moved Darmian into the right center back position full time. Had it not been the case, I'm sure Darmian would have ended up being our starting right wing back because Dumfries, man, this guy he had some shocking spells of form that I still don't believe I was seeing what I was seeing from this guy, man.
I We all like, I think, Dumfries, but I think he's someone that technically is not very good, but physically is amazing. And you have to trade a lot of things to get like certain things. So basically, it's never gonna work out for him, considering he is always gonna be physically imposing player, but someone that's technically lacking. I think Quadrado on the other side is someone that completes that circle. Physically he's not the best, but technically he's amazing. I think the age doesn't pose a great danger to him because it's a 1 year deal, and I think he's someone that if we take the Juventino out of him and all the years antagonizing Inter, scoring amazing goals, playing amazingly, if we are looking face value and if he is someone else, I think he's someone that's very good. I think he's someone that's perfect for Inter at this stage, because you have someone like Fartesi, you have someone like Barella and Calhanoglu, but you're lacking someone that's over 30, with a lot of experience, with a lot of games under his belt. You also have DiMarco, who 2 years ago was not even a starter at a serious club. He was, at Hellas Verona. He learned his craft under Juric, and he is a very good player right now. So I think Inter needs him more than he needs Inter, because could have played in Saudi Arabia and learned a lot of money. But at the end of the day, kudos to Marotta and to the team. Again, if we look at it at face value, and if we take Cuadrado's name out of the name, and if you look at the qualities, I think he's the perfect fit for Inter right now. He's someone that is going to run along the right side, that has a lot of experience, that has leadership qualities, who has a lot of gains for his national team as well. The only thing that I'm concerned about, honestly, is the right center back position. I'm not sure how good the defense is, and I have not seen that many players linked to Inter. I think Acerbi is a decent player. Him and the Fry are I think, at a certain level that I like them,
Mhm.
and they can rotate. I think Bastoni and the new guy, the German guy, are also decent players. I have never seen him play, honestly,
Yeah.
and that leaves Darmian to be either starter or backup for the right center back position.
I think the plan. Well, it looks like right now. Just of course we do this every season. We come on here and we tell each other how we come in here and we tell each other all the time how we shouldn't be overreacting to like preseason games. But from what I've seen on the preseasons, the two preseason games, it looks like it's gonna be Bisek, the new guy that we brought in on we're gonna expect them to develop into that starting right center back for us. And but in the meantime, it's gonna be Darmian, which in my opinion is probably the main reason why we brought in Cuadrado to pretty much remove that duty of being the backup right wing back from Darmian. I think Darmian is now gonna be full time or right center back. That's gonna be his rotation when he's either starting or backing up Bisek. In my opinion. In the middle, as you mentioned, is going to be the battle for between De Vrij and Acerbi. And on the left, it's going to be Bastoni. I'm not sure. We're gonna need to bring somebody in. I have no clue what the plan is, man. If you were to ask me what I wanted, um, I would have said Pavard from Bayern Munich, because to me he's like a rich man's Darmian kind of guy, like a player that he can play right wing back, he can play right center back. He's versatile, you know. But latest I heard, Man City were also interested in him, and we know how this goes. Once they're interested in a player as well, we can't compete financially, and they ended up winning that. But just from going over it, it sounds like we're missing a left-sided center back, and we just got to be on the lookout for that to see who it is that we're gonna bring in.
I mean, in all honesty, I think it's just funny to see, a back three of Bisek, Acerbi, and Bastoni. I think all of them are left-footed players, and in all honesty, I've never seen Bisek play. I cannot even say
Uh-huh.
anything bad or good about him. On face value, for me, on paper, it seems even better to have someone like Bastoni and Bisek for the left side, having Acerbi and Davray for the center back, and having
Uh-huh.
Darmian as a backup to someone that's honestly like world class, um, three-man center back that's right footed. I think that would be the ideal scenario. The only thing lacking as of today is there has not been any like rumors for such players.
Yeah,
Which
the names that I'm hearing, I'm not liking at all. The latest
what
was
did you hear?
Toloi. I'm hearing Toloi. We're always on Demiral. We're always on that. Who else? Right now, it seems like, yeah, the latest I heard was Rafael Toloi from Atalanta, and also Mehdi Demiral. Those are other two names. Nothing that really excites much, but we're at a point now where that's how we build our squad, man. We can't even shop at the dollar store anymore. We got to shop at the 50-cent store. That's where we're at right now, man.
It's really it's a weird period in the season, in Inter's history, I think, and in
Mhm.
Seria's recent history as well. I think, like looking back on the whole episode and what we have covered, I think we both agree with Trubin and Jan Sommer being players that we both like,
Mhm.
to be the replacements for both Onana and Handanovic. I think we both kind of agree that we need a right center back that's ready to play now.
Yeah.
Bisek, on face value, his height, his movement, as I've seen from certain clips, I do like. I'm not sure whether he's ready to play or not. There's yet to be seen and discussed. I think the first game we play on the 27th, which is what, Thursday?
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, Thursday we play Al Nasser.
Mhm.
Ronaldo's on Al Nasser, which will be a decent game. At least the first game that I've seen this season so far. For the midfield, I think we both agree that Quadrado and Dumfries are good enough for Serie A, especially because Quadrado's experience, Quadrado's attacking possibilities and opportunities. Uh,
Yeah.
for the midfield,
I just I just checked, by the way. Bisek, he's right-footed.
okay,
Because
my bad.
I remember the most recent preseason game, he was even overlapping, and getting crosses in with his right foot. So I was about to say, wow, if he's a lefty, then he might be two-footed. But yeah, I just checked real quick. He's right-footed.
Okay, that's even better. So basically, there's no one to be signed for that side. That's why we don't
Yeah.
see any others.
If anything, it sounds like we're missing either a guy that can play in the center or a guy that can play on the left. I mean, given how Acerbi performed for us, I expect him to be the full time uh, center midfield. I mean, center back.
Yeah,
So yeah, it sounds like we need a left footed center back. That's what's missing right now.
I've just read, like going in my head, going from right wing back to center midfielder positions. I think
Mm,
we're good and really set. And the only player that we are actually missing is a sixth option, which you said it could be Samardzic or could be, I don't know. We've seen uh, what was the name? Pereira. Pereira is the wish
Uh,
of.
I think he's gone already. I think he signed in Turkey, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he rejected them. I think he rejected Besiktas, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Let
he
me
did?
check. Turns down Besiktas. Torino is now close to signing him. At least they're leading the chase.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah, I
free.
haven't I haven't heard us being linked to him in a minute.
No, I don't think we have been. Although I think he wants to join Inter, knowing the possibility and the potential of the team. We all like the starting three. I think there will be an experimenting process in the preseason, whether Barella plays as the regista, and all three of them can play each other's positions. I think that's a very good thing.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, the Marco on the left side, we haven't really covered Gosens probably, and most probably going away to
Yeah,
Wolfsburg, back to the Bundesliga. What do you make of that
yeah.
news?
Well, that sounds like another move that's almost like inevitable, and we already even have the replacement lined up. Um, don't get me wrong, I'm a big Gosens fan, but um, I think last season it's undeniable that DeMarco did everything that he could have done, or everything that a fan could have asked of him to solidify himself as a starting left wing back. There's only one position on the field, and I feel like DeMarco he won that position. So unfortunately, we'll have to sell Gosens, and it seems like we've already decided that we're gonna replace him with Carlos Agosto. I think his name is
Mhm.
from Lecce. So Lecce or Salernitana, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to.
Monza.
Monza. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. But yeah, it seems like that's the guy that we've decided, and it's just a matter of time, a matter of, okay, as soon as the deal goes through, we're just gonna make the deal with Monza to bring him in. Um, I'm cool with it. I'm okay. Given that Demarco is still super young and still growing as a player, and who knows how good he's gonna be at the end of the day. So I'm okay with it.
True. And the Carlos Augusto guy is worth 15 million
Hmm.
on transfer mark. He is, yeah, at 24, 24 and a half, 25 in January. Which,
Okay.
I do really like Gosens. He didn't really pan out for Inter
Hmm.
because Mark really stole his shine and limelight. I do like DeMarco. I think he's set, and the search is only for his replacement. We've seen
Yeah.
him, proving that he can play 90 minutes week in, week out, covering Serie A and um, the midweek games. I'm excited to see DeMarco again in Interscholars, especially because he has been amazing for Italy whenever he has played. And the only topic, I think, really imposing topic as of right now is who else other than striker position. It seems even last year season and now um, it's very interesting to see. So to sum up, who would you choose between all of the players that have been linked with Inter? Pair up with Lautaro. Will it be
Yeah.
Turam
To sum
or
up,
someone else?
oh, based on the players that we have right now,
No, 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 no. Either Turam or someone that will come in.
um, for me, my dream. Well, I'm not gonna say my dream. Well, my ideal scenario would be Skamaka. Um, because I don't know if I'm old school or if that makes me old school, but I always want a smaller, more mobile striker and a more physically imposing that could play with his back to the goal and having the smaller guy play off of him. And for that reason, I feel like Skamaka. And then we could figure out in the back end, we could rotate it, have Skamaka play with Turam, have Skamaka play with Korea if he's still there, have Turam Notaro. It'll be a great mix. I feel like if we bring him in, Skamaka, that's my guy. How about you? It
I'm
sounds
not.
like it's for you is Balogun. So go ahead and say it.
No, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not against the idea of signing Skamaka. I've liked him back in Sassuolo. Skamaka and Lautaro, at least on paper, they sound like an amazing pair of players. We'll be missing the Dzeko presence. We'll be missing Lukaku's, you know, scoring abilities at the end of the day. But it
Yep.
is what it is. We all know the situation that he has put himself into. If it was up to me, I'm not against Kamaka, but I like Balogun a lot.
Yep.
He's an American as well, which we haven't had in a while, or have we ever had an
At
American?
all. I don't think we've ever had an American.
So yeah,
And
it's an exciting time.
it seems like with the new sponsor, the no sponsorship deal with Paramat Plus that we just sound. It sounds like we want to bring in the American player to kind of appeal more to the American market. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Just having Milan signing Pulisic the last couple of weeks, the soccer world up here in America has been buzzing, and a lot of people that usually would not care or now talking about Milan or coming to me talking about Milan when they see I have my Inter shirt on or whatnot. So whatever it is, the trick that they're trying to do financially, it does work. It does bring interest to your team. So maybe that's the same thing that we're trying to do with Balogun as well.
If we send Balogun, then Juventus will have Vea, Pulisic will be at Milan, and Inter will have its own Captain America. So it's the battle of the captains at the end of the day. I think, as I said, I won't be. I'm not opposing the idea of Skamaka, but I like Balogun and the prospect of him more
Yeah.
than the actual player. I
And me,
think
and me my only thing is like I know I keep saying it is just the matter of what we already have right now. I feel like Balogun is too similar to Lotaro in my opinion, just from what I've seen. But of course, if the scouting department and along with Inzaghi and the directors they decide that he's the guy that they need, then hey, I'll get behind it and hopefully I'm proven wrong.
hopefully we're all proven wrong because we said so many things about players and the potential pairing. I think it will be a good season. I think we will be missing a lot the presence of older players, Handanovic, Skriniar, Dzeko mainly,
Yeah.
all of them leaving for free, and all of them being are yet to be replaced. I think Dzeko has not been replaced by no one, by anyone. Sorry, and although no one spoke about Brozovic, I think he'll be greatly missed. He has been very polarizing throughout his time at Inter, but I think we are in for a very good season. As a first episode of the preseason, I think it had been an interesting one. We have spoken about the back end of last season and at the beginning of this season. I think for the expectations, for the um, standings and all of the transfers that are yet to happen, I think we'll cover them in some of the next episodes. By the time we record the next one, the second one, we have already played, or we will be playing Al Nasser, yeah, 27th.
Hmm.
So, do you have any expectations for the game in sense of what you want to see, or you're just going into the game just
Mm. You know what? What I want to see, I want to see Turam start to establish himself a little more. As far as everything else, it's more like curiosity. I want to see how Bisek plays. I want to see how Fratesi starts to fit into the midfield. It's mainly curiosity for me. I'm just curious to see how players play, rather than expecting anything else. So yeah, I'll be tuning in to see how they play and what Inzaghi has in mind if what he's doing is actually aligning with what I think he's doing.
I agree with you. I think I completely agree with you. I'm excited to see Inter. I've been missing Inter a lot, and yeah, I think we will be back next week after
Yes,
playing all
sir.
night. We will say whatever we think, no matter how brutal, how honest that is.
Yeah, it's the
I,
preseason, so it's a perfect time to be brutal. You know, we got nothing to lose.
definitely. We thank everyone that has joined us. It has
Thank you
been
guys.
it's, it has been an amazing episode. We thank all of the people that joined the chat. Mr. Pleasant giving his thoughts on the topics as they go along. We really appreciate it, every single one of you.
Thank you
It,
guys.
it is a community, as Dave and I spoke before starting the podcast. It is a community created by us for everyone to enjoy, for everyone to speak out their mind. And the podcast, at the end of the day, as I always say, is created for us to express our feelings. And every single one of us is more than welcome to join us and to express their feelings, as it has been the case with every single guest that we've had so far, and they have become part of the community. So thanks to all of us, and thanks to all of the people that has joined us. See you next week at the same time, most probably. Bye, guys.